Welcome to the first Level Up Tutorials code drop or course drop. The very first one, I already goofed up what we're calling it. We're going to be talking about the latest course on Level Up Tutorials today, which is Svelte 3D. So this is the first one of these that we're doing. If you are having any issues with the audio or potentially the video or literally anything, please leave a comment in the YouTube video so that way we can make sure that we are on top of it. If anyone here has seen any of my past live streams, you'll know they have not always exactly gone smooth on the tech side of things. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Scott Tolinski. I created this course and Level Up Tutorials. And with me today is Caitlin Bloom, who is the head of marketing for Level Up Tutorials, and she is going to just be kind of talking us through this latest course and just a little bit about what exists in it and why it's here. Caitlin, do you want to introduce yourself at all to the people?
Yeah. Well, thank you all for coming. I appreciate your patience as we get this up and going. It was definitely my fault. But again, yes, as Scott said, if you have any difficulties, please put things in the chat. I'll keep an eye on it. The way today's going to go, we're going to start, here we are in the middle of our little intro. We'll go into like a little bit of an interview. I'll ask Scott a couple questions about why this course is just amazing, right? And then he will dig into it a little bit deeper and talk about what really you're going to be learning, what you'll be doing. He'll show some demos. He'll get you excited. And then we'll open up the floor to Q&A from the audience. That will probably come in the last like 20 minutes. But if you have questions as we go, please drop them into the chat. I'll make sure to come back and make sure Scott gets those questions answered. So yeah, again, Caitlin Bloom here. I do like the marketing and stuff for Level Up Tutorials. Scott brought me on back in August.
Something around there, yeah.
It's flown by. It's such a fun work environment. There's like amazing things happening all the time. It's such a small team. It feels like a family. It was Scott's birthday on Tuesday. So can we all just give some more like happy birthdays to him?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I mean, it's a week-long celebration, right?
It's gotta be, right? Yeah.
It's gotta be. So you know what? Let's just kind of dig in. Scott, what's the deal with Svelte Cubed? And why do you think it's so cool?
Yeah, so Svelte Cubed is essentially a wrapper around a library called Three.js. And Three.js is really the way of doing 3D on the internet. So anytime you really see interactive, real 3D shapes on the web, it's almost always going to be Three.js. And that uses a technology in the browser called WebGL. So what Svelte Cubed is it's basically a way to easily work with Three.js, which is kind of a notoriously difficult library to work in. Not because it's not powerful, it's almost too powerful is really the problem. There's so much things you can do with it. The syntax can get kind of ugly pretty quickly. You're the type of person who has to do math or really work in sort of complex things like that. It's going to feel very overwhelming. And what Svelte Cubed does is it basically allows you to take that style of programming and turn it into something called declarative programming, where you're declaring things that are like actual things as they are, like a shape, right? So typically in Three.js, if you wanted to get a cube on the canvas, in JavaScript code, you're creating your canvas, you're creating your cube, you're telling the cube to go onto the canvas, you're telling it what to look like or how to feel or what to do. And you're doing all this kind of in a do this, then do this, then do this, then do this, like step through it kind of thing. But with Svelte Cubed, what you end up having is much more of a way to define things as they are. So let's say we have a cube. We get to declare it as being a cube, that hence the name declarative programming, right? So you get to actually say things like, all right, we have a canvas and it's an object. We have a cube and it's an object. We have a camera and it's an object. And you're placing these things as they are components in your web application, but it makes them feel a little bit more like actual things. You're declaring them as like actual things rather than almost like instructions to do something.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
As a non-developer, I'm like, sign me up. Let's do it. And seeing some of the like actual things that you've created, just using what you said, around 40 lines of code. It's super cool. Super, super cool.
Yeah, this little spinning cube is like 60 lines of code, but this is a lot of like extra bulk in this thing for no reason, just to like goof around with it or whatever. If we wanted to get a spinning cube like this going with, minimal things, it would be like 30 lines of code. And that's really the big benefit there, is instead of dealing with just a bunch of line by line by line stuff that you have to figure out, you get to look at it and read it in a way that to me makes a lot more sense personally.
Yeah. Very cool. So, how did you choose to do a course on Svelte Cubed?
It kind of, a lot of courses that I choose to do, they come about through me being excited about something or just getting into it. But with this, it was definitely, I had done some 3D on the web before. I had actually done some 3D in college. So I have a little bit of a background in 3D, and I used React 3 Fiber. I've actually done a course on React in 3D. So when Svelte Cubed came out, it was almost a no-brainer to me that at some point that I would be doing a course on it. And I was going to try to wait for it to mature. And it turns out it doesn't really need any maturing. The library as is extremely powerful. And again, because it's a wrapper around another thing, the other thing is kind of where all of the power is. The Svelte version of it just makes it easy to use, right? So because of that, you don't have to wait on them to build in all these features. The features already exist. You can just kind of tap into that with Svelte. So when I started using it, I think I like made the spinning cube in like 15 minutes or something for the first time. And I was just like, oh shoot, this is really easy. This is maybe easier than I even anticipated it to be, which is kind of surprising because I'm so used to easy things now working in Svelte or building 3D from React 3 Fiber. I was really shocked at just how simple it was to get up and running with some of these neat things like this.
Yeah, and simply the fact that you're excited about something, I feel like says a lot. Usually when you're excited about something, it like ends up being pretty great. You get other people excited about it with you. So how did you put the course together? What was your process? How did you build the curriculum? How did you decide what to include in this amazing course?
Yeah. So I wanted to show the basic stuff, and it's tough with something like this, especially when Three.js is such a giant topic, right? You can do so much with it that it's easy to get lost in the weeds sometimes when you're building, especially at a course like this, to say, I want to do all this really cool stuff. But at the end of the day, the best things to teach in this course would be the stuff that is the connective tissue between Svelte and Three.js. This course isn't going to teach you to become a Three.js champion, right? But it is going to teach you how you can get going in the Svelte version of Three.js and build real practical things very quickly. So this is the type of topic that it is pretty deep once you get into it, and there's a lot of more additional things to learn. So with that in mind, it was always, I want to show examples that have some creative impact, some excitement around them, something that's like interesting and something that people will want to work in, but also things that are practical, things that are very much the real way that you're going to be using 3D on the web. Because let's face it, yeah, we have this cube that's spinning. You can change the width of it with Svelte, but at the end of the day, like, is that practical? Is that something that people are going to be using? Not necessarily, but this is foundational, right? So you build in some of that foundational stuff, and then you move into more practical visualizations or animations or physics-based stuff that people are going to be able to take with them and actually build real examples that could be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I think you did a good job. Based on what people are saying on Twitter, they're like having a hard time putting down this course.
Yeah.
They're like sitting down and just watching the whole thing through. They're really excited about it. So let's get into a little bit of like the real world application of Svelte Cubed. What kind of things can you do with it? How does it look in the real world? How can people be using it in their day-to-day?
Yeah. One of the things I love about Svelte Cubed is, I'll say it like 100 times over the course of this stream, is just that it's this wrapper around an already established and widely used library. So this library, Three.js at Three.js.org, has a ton of amazing sites that are real life, really in the real world, being used to use Three.js. And just about anything that's being done with Three.js, you can do with Svelte Cubed, right? Because it's really just it's just something that helps you write the code for this. But to see these kind of examples, this kind of stuff that's going on here, while these aren't necessarily made with Svelte Cubed themselves, there's nothing to stop you from making this with Svelte Cubed. And this is all 3D rendered in the browser. This is a site by Google. Other examples on here, I was showing off in the, I just did a talk for Svelte Sirens, and I showed off the NASA site. So NASA is using it to do like visualizations of planets. GitHub has Three.js right here on their homepage. And so sometimes people use this in really not necessarily practical ways, but like just fun, whether it's whimsical or visualization or just neat things like this 3D globe over here is Three.js. There's just some really incredible things. And some people will even take it into like really fun territory. This Bruno Simon this is one of my favorite Three.js sites. I've always loved this thing. This is built in Three.js. You use your keyboard to drive the car around. It has physics. It has sound, audio. It's a game, right? And they made this in the browser with Three.js. So this stuff can be used for right now for all sorts of things, whether that is like a full-on video game if you wanted to do that, or you could have it just be some sort of a visualization, or perhaps you're doing data visualization. Perhaps you are building a landing page and wanting to make it just really super cool, like something that people are talking about. I think those are the practical applications today. But even more than that, I think there's augmented reality and virtual reality applications of this thing that are going to just really take over the web in many ways. There's so many really neat examples that pop up all the time on this. And if you're the type of person who's like, okay, 3D on the web, that's cool, I get it, it's a gimmick, it's kind of interesting. This is kind of where you're going to go. 3js.org, head onto this landing page and just click through some of these, and you're going to see practical examples, but you're also going to see stuff that is just going to make your jaw hit the floor because it's just really well executed. So a lot of like really interesting things.
Yeah, very cool. Would you say that there's a growing demand for 3D developers?
Yeah, I definitely would. And I think if you were to learn 3D now, I think you're getting ahead of it a little bit, because what we're going to be seeing, I think, way more in the next few years is both augmented reality applications of this stuff as well as virtual reality applications. I actually said it in the previous stream that I did with Brittany. I was talking about augmented reality apps. Like, let's say you have the Target app and you want to see a picture on your wall, and you hold your phone up and you look through the phone's camera and it shows a photo on the wall. That's the kind of augmented reality stuff that's going to start really hitting the web in a way that is going to be honestly being able to land you big time jobs. If you look at who's doing this kind of stuff, it's Nike, it's Apple, it's Google, it's whoever. And if you're the type of person who all of a sudden has this really advanced or interesting 3D in your tool belt, then I think that's going to be a really enticing job skill to have. But not only that, I think virtual reality applications too, VR is going to be a lot of places very soon. I mean, I have a headset. I've had one for like 2 years, and even my 4-year-old loves to put it on and look at animals on it. So it's like it's going to become a part of our world very quickly in a much larger way. And as web developers, I mean, we got to kind of be prepared for many of those advancements and changes to how we use interfaces.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious that it's something that can make a company or an application or any sort of tool really stand out. You know, even like sometimes you can look on Google and you Google like an animal, and they'll show you the animal in your living room. Like,
yeah,
very random, but like it's just things like that where it just makes the experience so much deeper, and like it feels cool.
Totally. Landon, we did that with his dinosaurs. Like, how big is this dinosaur? You do an AR and the T-Rex is standing outside of your house and it's as large as the house, and like that for a 4-year-old, that's going to be like, oh my gosh, I get it. This thing is huge. Right?
Even for a 28-year-old. I'm like, I don't know, totally, how big is it? I mean, endless applications for 3D. Amazing. So what will people learn? What will people build? What is in this course? Let's see it. Yeah,
so there's a lot of stuff. In fact, if we look at the curriculum, we spend a little bit just going over the basics. You have your canvas, which it contains lights, it contains objects, it contains, I said camera? No, I did not say camera. It contains camera or cameras. It contains all these things, right? So we kind of go over at first, getting to understand placing these things in the canvas, placing them in space, what it takes to move them around, how you connect it to Svelte so that you're not only working with Svelte's interactivity model, like for instance, this really basic cube example. This is a HTML input range. So it's an input range, and we bind a value of the range. So whenever you update this range, the value will change. And because it's Svelte, obviously, for those of you who have written Svelte, you're just binding a value. What this does is when you update this, it updates this word width. And width can then be just dropped directly into the 3D, making it just about 2 lines of code to make this thing do this, right? And to control it and shape it or whatever. And so we get into these Svelte aspects of things. Then we start to dive into some project-based things. And like project-based things, we have like this contributions graph. This is something that we make that's really pretty neat because it's kind of modeled after the GitHub contributions graph. And we can move all around. We can refresh the data. We can have it animate. And this thing itself is also not very, not a lot of lines of code. Let's see, import from blah, blah, blah here. Let's see. So we just have a couple of functions to generate the data. And then what's so cool about this, again, because it's Svelte, we can do an each, just like we would typically in Svelte, and we loop over it. And instead of outputting DOM elements, we're outputting a mesh and a cube. So for as many of these as we want, we can just keep outputting and looping over them. So we build some really interesting stuff that works with Svelte. And then we even get into some physics-based stuff. We don't build this example, but we give you the tools to build an example like this, where we're actually dealing with generating things randomly, having things fall in space, having things work and collide with each other and have interactivity amongst themselves. We do all of this kind of in a step-by-step way where we're teaching your your foundational skills, but then getting into these more in-depth skills. And some of the cooler things too is that we quickly show you how to extrude a text in 3D. I don't want to click on my video here because it's going to make me talk all day. So like we're showing you how you can actually make like word art. It's like a word art generator or something in with text by actually extruding the text or taking an SVG file. We take the Level Up Tutorials logo, which is an SVG file, and we turn this thing into an actual 3D shape by just importing an SVG file and then extruding it into 3D space. And it's probably a lot easier than most people would expect. And we also show bringing in a model too. It's a GLTF model, how you can bring in a model and a mesh and have that be imported as well. So there's an endless amount of stuff. So basically, on top of that, animations, right? We're working with not only Svelte Kit animations and Svelte animations, but being able to work with the frame, what is the thing? Frame events. So on every frame of something, do something with your animation, whether that's rotating it or something. So we end up getting into a whole ton of foundational skills, as well as getting into building just cool stuff for the sake of it, right? Just for the fun of messing around in 3D on the web.
Amazing. Is there anything else you want to show within the course before we open up to Q&A?
I don't think so. You know, these are some of the big examples that I kind of want to show. This is one of my favorite ones. What's really cool about this example in particular is that in the course, we have it set up so that this thing can get hundreds of lines wide and hundreds of lines deep. So what you end up having is this massive city of generated ups and down thing. And it's just unbelievable that you could tweak a couple of values and output something so cool and just like really build something that you're interested in or just, I don't know. For me, this stuff is it's like a playground. So because of that, it almost feels like you're just you're like a kid getting to experiment with blocks and toys and whatever. And it's that easy that you can just mess around with it like that. So yeah.
Very fun. Very, very fun. I know it makes me want to become a 3D developer.
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to do it.
It honestly makes me want to become a 3D developer as well and just do that exclusively.
Yeah. I mean, even just trying to dig into like 3D design, it seems like harder than just developing. And I feel like, I mean, what do I know? But when I try to make things within just like I don't know, Adobe products, 3D seems impossible.
Yeah, no kidding, right? And I, like I said, I have some experience from 3D in college, and like there's nothing that makes me more frustrated than trying to work with some 3D apps. We had to do like some project in 3D, and I just remember it was like a team project, and my entire team just being like so defeated halfway through because we're just like, oh my gosh, this is so hard, and like now I'm get to mess around with this in the browser. It's like, how far we've come here.
So easy. Very fun. All right. Well, let's open it up for Q&A. I haven't seen anything come through yet, except Ken Jones says, should we be expecting breakdancing?
Not here. There's not enough space. But yeah, at some point here, I need to.
The next community happy hour.
Yeah. If we can get some drinks going, I'll.
Yeah. Just a few beers. Let's see. I mean, everyone in the chat seems to be really excited about it. 3D hockey shot plotter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right up your alley.
So the whole that, and the thing about that too, I'm going to interrupt, is just that like we have the ability, because it's Svelte, you have the ability to work with data in the same way that you do in Svelte. Like I showed in the contributions graph one. I mean, if you want to do a loop over some data or plot some data in 3D space, if you have the locations of that data or data that has plot points on it, that's as easy as looping over that data and then swapping out the values. And it's pretty unbelievable. Yeah. So the possibilities are literally endless, and honestly, building something like that is probably easier than you would expect.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I think we'll see it. I mean, we obviously see within sports, there's a lot of animation already. I wonder if this can kind of help that industry and make it more simple.
If you think about it, I mean, it's data coming in or out there, and I honestly, I wonder a lot about that too. Just the practical applications of where this could go.
Yeah, very fun. We have a couple questions, I think. What about VR websites?
Yeah, VR. This can do VR. And it's actually, so VR is going to be a Three.js thing. And so through VR, you would do it the exact same way that you would just follow these directions. And you can see here, they're importing a VR button, which is basically just a button that allows you to click it and have the renderer output in stereoscopic. I think that might be the word. It allows you to output one for each eye at different perspectives that you need. But it's really pretty easy. It's like it's too easy for what it is. So yeah, VR, you can do VR. We don't do it in the course. That's something that I thought about, but it was at the end of the day, it's like it's going to be way cooler if you have a VR headset, and if people don't have it, then maybe it's the type of thing I'll do a little blog post on or something later on, because I'm personally very interested in the VR application of this.
Yeah, I've definitely played around in Oculus.
Yeah, I know.
All right, another question. This is from Caleb. How does working with Three.js across React, Svelte, and Straight.js compare? Any big pros or cons for any?
The pros are that it's way easier to write. It's endlessly easier to write and to read the code when you're working with something like Svelte Cubed, just simply because when you have an object, it looks like an object in space. And it seems like that's kind of like a weak explanation of that, but honestly, there's really nothing beats when you're working with physical objects in physical space to also connect them to essentially cubes in the space in that sort of way. It basically streamlines the process of working in VR or in Three.js. The downsides are that I don't want to say there's no downsides, but I don't feel like there's downsides. The downsides are that, like, if you're looking on Svelte Cube's documentation or looking for documentation on how to do things, you're going to be having to look at the Three.js way of doing things and having to translate a little bit. But that said, everything in Svelte Cubed that exists, like, let's say we want a box geometry, you're not going to go to Svelte Cube's documentation to learn about the box geometry. You're still going to go to Three.js's documentation. So like instead of writing it like this, you're writing it as a single component. Is it hard to translate this code into the Svelte Cubed code? No, we actually talk about that in the course, like how you can understand that and how you can look at these to see what the parameters are for each thing. But that, I guess that could be seen as a downside. But performance, any of that stuff, no, it's all good.
Well said. Mitchell is asking, is level up using Svelte Cubed anywhere on the site outside of the course? No, not yet.
No, we're not. And I have to have some kind of restraint here. And Caitlin, you know this more than anyone here, that I really, I have to like put some sort of, I really have to put some sort of level of constraint on myself, because otherwise, yes, there'd be 3D all over the site if I could. And so, yeah, there isn't any currently, but it's the kind of thing that, like, if the right opportunity came about for it, I think I would be diving into that left and right. In fact, I'm almost like trying to find ways to shoehorn it into my own personal website just for fun.
Yeah, watch out, world. All of a sudden, tutorials.com is just going to be...
It's just going to be... Everything. The website's going to be in a cube. It's just going to be in a giant cube, yeah.
Not going to be able to navigate anything. You're just lost in this 3D space.
Yep.
Find a course. That sounds like a fun time. Let's see. We had a couple questions about whether we're going to put it on the website. All right, from Dennis. Tracking hand or object will be in course?
Yeah, hand tracking. No. That'd be cool. I don't know what the status of like hand tracking in Three.js is, to be honest. I have no idea. That's interesting though.
How much JavaScript knowledge is needed?
If you can write a Svelte website, you could do this, because we're not getting into crazy JavaScript here. And I don't know if I can bring up a good example here. We're not getting into crazy JavaScript. So, for instance, this is Svelte where we're just passing in components, and there is some like kind of JavaScripty things in here, but what you're doing is largely new Three.js box geometry. You're just saying, hey, give me a box geometry, or give me a material, make it this color. But are we doing a lot of really intense JavaScript? No, pretty much the most intense JavaScript we'll do is this bit. I would say this line of code is the most intense JavaScript in this whole course, where what we're doing is we're just mapping over an array of things and putting in random numbers. But as we go through it, we discuss exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it. We're certainly not just like throwing this up on the thing and just saying, figure it out. So the amount of JavaScript you need to know would be no more than if you could take the beginner Svelte course and feel comfortable with that.
We got a course for that. Cool. Does your course have any examples that combine 3D with 2D, like GitHub's homepage example?
Kind of, yes. I have a crappy version of what we do in the course on the Stack Blitz here. Let's see if this loads up. Stack Blitz was giving me some issues earlier today. It was hanging up at this. So, okay, there we go. So this is kind of an example of that. This isn't the prettiest example in the world, but what we have here is we click a button and a 3D cube just kind of fades up here. Like I said, it's not really that practical or that amazing, but what's cool about this is we're treating the cube as an image in the canvas. So like we're outputting the canvas, we're giving it an alpha channel, which means that it's transparent in the background of it, and then we're moving it just like we would. And this could be, if you wanted to, this cube could be spinning, or it could be changing colors, or it could be something totally different, right? But at the end of the day, this is the canvas being utilized in straight up HTML without having like a giant canvas take over the entire page like many of the other examples do.
I like that. Cool. All right, this question doesn't make any sense to me, but it probably will make sense to you.
Okay.
Was a C4D Studio user for 10 years. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep. C4D.
Went to Blender when they went to okay, not a question, probably.
Yeah. Yeah,
not it out loud.
I do that when we're reading the questions on syntax. I'll like pause in the middle of it or read the wrong part of the question, and I'll just be like, "Oh, this is not." And Wes will just be like, "No, that's not the question, man."
Thank you for making me feel better.
Read it again, please.
Okay, this is from Tater of Tots. You said it's kind of like working with images, but is it the same in that you do all of the work once, and every instance of the same thing on that page doesn't add to the processing load?
As long as it's not being animated. Well, I should say that in two different ways. If you're animating like this one, then no, it's not re-rendering that. But this is using Svelte's internal animations to do that. So this is physically taking the canvas DOM element and translating it and changing the opacity. That's not re-rendering, and it's going to be really easy on your CPU. But we also do another type of animation in this course called the on-frame animation, or even in this one where, like, see how this is spinning? This is using an on-frame. But also when this grows, it's choosing to re-render. This is all being done on HTML canvas, and the code that's fired that re-renders or redraws this canvas only fires when it needs to change the canvas, when something needs to move. So right now it's firing like very, very rapidly. If we were to put like a log in here, you'd see this was firing like every something 100 every 10 milliseconds or 100 milliseconds. I don't know what the exact on frame is here. But it's firing very fast. So this kind of example will be more CPU intensive than, especially this one will be more, but more than something like this where we're just using Svelte and HTML to animate it.
Cool. The next question comes from Sylvester. Can you do on-click on a shape?
No, you can't. That's something I really wish you could do. You can't, unfortunately, but that doesn't mean you're like totally out of luck there. In fact, in the course, we do use something called Svelte Canon, which does physics in Svelte, and that has all kinds of events, whether that is you're interacting with the shape, or that shape is interacting with another shape. Maybe it's hitting the ground, or maybe it's colliding, or maybe it's moving or something. Then you can get those types of events, but you can't have an on-click on the shape. And a lot of times what you'll see in these examples for Svelte Cubed and other things is they're throwing an on-click on the body or on the canvas. So whenever you click the canvas, but not the cube specifically. To do that, you would need to bring in another library that Svelte Cubed does a lot of that stuff, or Svelte Canon does. I'm sorry, but we do cover a little bit of that, just not the events parts. Yeah, we at least talk about like what it takes to start to get there.
Very fun. From Jim Hall, do you import 3D models from a third-party software, or just use basic meshes?
We do import a mesh. We import a GLTF file from something that I made. I made this GLTF with my own two hands in Blender, so it's probably not that great because I'm not like Blender is a tough application to be good at, and the people who are good at it are very good. So, but we do provide a GLTF. We talk about what the process is for using a GLTF. We talk about even getting that GLTF into the DOM, being able to look at the whole JavaScript object of everything that included there, and then how you can take that data and bring that into Three.js and have that being output. In fact, what we do in the video that we show, this one that says Cube Time, is a derived version of what we do in the course. And the one in the course is Star Time, or Star World. I don't even know what it is. But when you click the level up button, a spinning star comes out of here. And that spinning star is the GLTF model that we bring in. So yeah, we definitely do show bringing in models. It's a little trickier. That's like probably one of the harder aspects of working in this stuff, I'd say.
Cool. A lot of this just is going on.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. It's acronyms. It's languages. Yeah, I know. Like, seriously.
I need to study more software.
No, you don't. You don't need to know a GLTF. Yeah.
I know. I'm like, I want to provide some great commentary here.
Oh, GLTF. Cool. Yeah.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, I know. I feel kind of dumb talking about some of the stuff too because I'm not a 3D person. But like getting into it, I've had to really dive in so much to to discover all these things. So yeah, there's a lot of language when you get into 3D that's very different.
Yeah, I mean, you sound like you know what you're talking about.
I do. I do.
Yeah, you definitely do. All right, another one from Tater of Tots. Should you have an above average laptop to start seriously doing this kind of development?
I don't think so. I did this kind of development. I don't think so personally. Like this is not. It's not really hammering my CPU. I'm trying to see. Yeah, load average Streamlabs is taking up. The browser is only taking up 35% of a core. I don't think you need to have a high-end laptop to start doing this stuff. Maybe if you're getting into VR, but I would have to imagine that it would work fine on anything. I should polish off an old MacBook or something to see if it's really that hard on it. I don't think it's that hard on your CPU or your GPU, at least in my experience. But then again, I haven't necessarily like totally stress tested that, so I don't want to give a full endorsement of like, yeah, it's fine, and then it's not fine. But,
I think you probably have an above average laptop.
Yeah, that's the tough part. Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Let's see. Are there any questions that we missed?
Is it WebGL or WebGPU? It's WebGL. That's what it is. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else that we missed in here.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
Yeah, I don't see anything. If you guys have any other questions, please pop them in. One thing that I forgot to mention at the beginning of this live stream is that we will be giving away 1 month free of Level Up Pro.
Yeah, we got to get a soundboard going for this next one. Yeah.
Sucks to be you.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. So yeah, we'll give it a second to see if any other questions come in. And if not, we can kind of go through the process of how we might be giving away the 1 month free. Scott, do you have anything else that maybe you forgot to mention previously? Anything else you want to add before we wait to see if there's questions?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think there's anything specifically here. Just that this stuff's a lot of fun. Even if you just fire up the Getting Started on Svelte Cubed's website, just try it out. Because I think there's like something inherently about being like very excited about something that when you get that first little step into it where you can say, oh wait, this is way less intense than I would have expected, or this is way easier than I would have expected, then that's like such a, I don't know, such an important step in my mind to say like, wow, this stuff's very cool. So just give it a try. Head to Svelte Cube's documentation, read through their Getting Started if you want, or just watch the Level Up course and be wowed by it. It's really what it comes down to. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah. Awesome. Let's see if there's any other questions that came in. Is there a limit on the number of polygons?
I'm sure there is. But I did not hit. So when I was messing around with that contributions graph one, I was telling it to go thousands by thousands of rows, and it was like animating and moving many. It was animating and moving many of these columns, and I could get it really high before the browser started to struggle. So I had this going where it was like 1,000 by 2,000 of these things. So like 20,000 shapes all animating and moving. And on my computer, for the most part, it worked really well. But once you started to get out there, it was really chugging along. So there's probably a limit, whatever that may be, depending on what you're doing. So I don't know exactly what that is, though.
But it does exist.
It does exist, yeah.
How does it compare with Babylon, JS, or A-Frame?
Oh, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know Babylon or A-Frame. I've never used either of them, but I have seen A-Frame quite a bit. But I honestly don't even know very much about Babylon. We'll give those a check. Yeah.
I think Eric asked if he can put a 3D Level Up Tuts logo on the website.
Yes, he can do it, but doesn't mean I'll accept the pull request from him.
You can try.
We can try it. You can try it.
Will there be interest in 3D Svelte object libraries?
There is one. There is one. And I honestly, I saw it on Reddit, I think, and I saved it, and I cannot find it for the life of me. I spent all this morning, believe it or not, looking for this thing. And what I believe you're asking is like when you say 3D Svelte object libraries, for React 3 Fiber, there's a library called dry, whatever the German, I don't know how to do that, German, but it's where it is you're like import box from this thing, and then you just have a box instead of having to write out the code to even make the box, making that kind of thing even that much easier. I saw someone who's working on that. It was brand new at the time. It wasn't really full featured or anything. So I'll keep my eyes out, and maybe I'll do another video if I find it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dig deep. I'm not seeing any other like important questions in here.
Did you hear that, y'all? If you asked a question, not important. No, I don't see any.
I am specifically saying that they know who they are. Yeah, I mean, I think at this point we can maybe start to try to do the free month of Level Up Pro.
Yeah, and this is everybody. This is our first time doing this, so if there's different things you want to see out of these drop parties or whatever we're going to be calling them, we're going to be doing one of these a month. If there's something you would like to see specifically or be different, let us know. We'll tweak it. We're learning here.
Yeah, we're kind of just winging it here. Always open to feedback, very much. Hopefully you guys are all in like our Discord community. That's a really easy way to get in touch with us. I don't know. Should I share my like Discord handle? Is that weird?
Yeah, you don't need to share your handle. Just you're around.
People can get into Discord. Okay.
Yeah.
They're probably in there already. If not,
you're available.
Find your way.
Yeah.
All right. So if you are interested in receiving a free month of Level Up Pro and you're here and you're listening, put a B in the chat.
B?
A B, which is like a thumb.
Oh, yeah, that is kind of a thumb.
It's supposed to be and then a P is a thumb down, I guess.
B.
B.
I did not know that. It feels like I should know that, right? Like, that seems like pre-emoji, emoticon.
I know. And you're old, so.
Yeah, I know. I'm old. You know, you're right. I'm getting up there, man.
You're like so young. It's nothing. All right. I'm just gonna get the ball moving and see if people will. There we go.
Bees are coming in.
They're coming in. And then what do you think? How do we announce it? Do I do it later? Do I scroll through and choose one? We're winging it.
No, we should do it. Let's do it live.
Let's do it live. Oh, there we are.
They're coming in.
They are coming in. Maybe I do like a random number generator and then choose whichever number that is within the lineup. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways we could do it.
Do you have a better idea? You're the idea guy.
Maybe, let's see. Because to do a random number generator, you'd have to know how many people total were here.
Well, I would just count the number of bees. That's
fair. Yeah, it's not like there's 2,000 bees, so.
Right.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, hopefully everyone's bees are in there.
All right, get your bees in.
Get your bees in. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I bet there's some way to do this in OBS that we can research for next time.
Yeah, probably.
We'll see.
Do you want to? I hope everyone's honest in here. I didn't check to see if you doubled down.
One doubled down.
One did?
Yes, one person.
Okay, well, if we get you, then you don't get it.
No, I'll yeah.
Okay, 19. Thank you. Let's see. Minimum, maximum. 19. All right, you ready?
Tater of Tots wants you to pick the number that's most potato based.
I mean, I'd be down. All right. Number 4, which is 1, 2, Rodney Weiss.
Rodney. Congratulations, Rodney. Rodney, if you're not in our Discord, maybe we should post a link to that Discord. You can hop in there, and we will make sure that you get your month for free.
Woo.
If you, yeah. So,
yeah.
So, let's actually post that Discord link, and then we can call it.
Some of these comments are getting wild. I bet Wes would build a scraper to grab all the bee people in like 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, that is. He would have already had it ready.
This is the first time. Thanks for hanging in here with us and figuring out as we go. I'm seeing Josh is mad. 1, 2. No. Oh yeah, he's confused. Okay. Well, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, that's great.
But again, always give us feedback if there's something you'd like to see different. If you're like, man, Caitlin knows nothing, get her off the live stream. That's totally valid too.
No, it's not. That's not valid.
It's, if it's constructive, I'll take the feedback. But yeah, don't be strangers, everyone. You know where we are on Discord, and I hope to see you at the next one.
Yeah, maybe we should give a little surprise for the people that are here. The next month's course is going to be on Supabase, and we have a guest content creator for that. We'll be kind of drip feeding more information about that over the course of the month. But of those of you who want to learn Supabase, this is going to be the course that comes out at the end of March. And let me tell you, very excited about that one personally because, nothing gets me more excited than like making database software easier. Which it sounds like ridiculous to say out loud, but it's honest.
There you go, sneak peek.
Sneak peek. Cool. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and we will catch you next month, or at the end of this month, or next month, sometime around there.
Whenever.
We'll post about it.
Next 30-ish days.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone.